This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just a couple of guys in a band that you know. Some rockstar dads who started a show. So here's the next episode.
Welcome everybody to the Rockstar Dad Show, and holy crap, we're back. Listen, we had the best of, what is it I'm trying to say? Like we wanted to, we didn't do any of these while we were on tour.
We had the intentions.
We
going into it, we said, yeah, maybe not going to happen, but we tried.
Man, we tried. We even have like a whole new like setup that we got. I just realized that we got the new setup out to record one, and we did one, but it didn't record, and we never got the thing back out again. I don't know. Maybe that's something we can develop over time, but we didn't do it. We, the days were busy. The off days were much needed. And so thank you to producer Jack for keeping us going, as only you can do. We appreciate you. We appreciate you guys for being patient with us, but we are here, and we have a great show today. Later on in the program, Tyler Sakowski, who is going to actually teach us the pronunciation of his last name that he didn't even know.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't even pronounce your own name right, like, how are we supposed to?
Can't get mad at anybody else, right?
Yeah.
From State Champs is going to be here. They got a new record out. And man, I'm excited to talk to him. I like that band a lot. And they're a band that, so I guess we did 3 Warped Tours with them. But we've never really gotten to hang, which is really so weird because they tour with the same bands we do.
Yeah, you know, so many social engagements, so little time, I guess, you know.
Maybe that's it. But Tyler's a cool dude and a rockstar dad, so he'll be on later in the show. Gary, how's everything going with you?
Pretty good. You know, we've done the thing where we got home from tour, and I've just been sore and exhausted for like a week and a half, but I'm bouncing back, and I'm starting to feel like a real person again.
Okay, that's good. And I'm never glad that anybody else is hurting or can't sleep, but it does make me feel a little bit better sometimes that it's not just me. But we got home a week ago and I didn't sleep. I would go to sleep. I'd be tired all day, go to sleep, up by 3 o'clock in the morning, and then just awake. And then that happened to me for 3 nights. And then I went to Vegas. So then I'm on West Coast time and I'm staying up till 3 o'clock anyway, and then going to sleep and sleeping all day. So I pretty much got home from tour Sunday because I've been on the same schedule.
Yeah.
Since then. So man, I got to get back to sleeping.
If you said that like today you're starting to feel great and back on normal like I was, then it would have been a scientific fact that the cure for, you know, being exhausted on tour is going to Vegas for a weekend. But I wouldn't have believed that science, but you know, you can't argue with it. Yeah,
that's true.
Well, how was Vegas?
Man, I had a great time. We took my father-in-law and my mother-in-law there for his 60th birthday, and he's never been to Las Vegas before.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so we had a really great time. And then our friends of the show, Derek and Amy, went with us, the Pit Singers, and we had some great food. We went to this like an old school Vegas place called Hugo's, that's in like the down basement part of either the Four Queens or the Fremont. I can't remember. I think the Fremont. And then we went to a really cool Korean barbecue place one night. We saw Penn and Teller, who I haven't seen since like the 90s, and the show is amazing. And I went to you said the same thing when I told you this, that Marco did. Like, I went to what I consider to be my first burlesque show. But I think some of the things that we've been to in the past might qualify as that. It's just the lines are a little blurry.
So whenever you mentioned that to me at first, I was like, well, I think we've been to one before. And then I started thinking, I don't know, that may have just been a peeler bar, or, then
Yeah.
there's some stuff in Amsterdam that we've seen. That's not really burlesque. Okay. I don't know. But then I got to thinking about it. And I think like back in the old days of like, Club Clearview and Curtain Club, like they had some burlesque nights. I'm sure we've been to a burlesque show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to have put you to sleep with that.
I'm
story.
so sorry. Again, like, and what's funny is we've been recording now for what, like over almost 2 hours, and like now the yawns kick in. It's just me and you here. But it's lack of oxygen. It's not boredom, buddy. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Actually, it was super fun. And so that was fun. I guess she's the queen of burlesque. Her name is Dita Von Teese. And so when you tell people you went to that, they're like, "Oh, that was good." But her big thing is she does a strip tease in a wine glass that's filled with bubble bath.
Okay.
Yeah. And
a while back we I think probably the last episode, who knows, because that was a while back, but we were talking about shows that we were watching, and I said that I was loading up for the Australian flights and all that. And I kind of jumped the gun. I had a show lined up, and I just couldn't wait, and so I started watching it at home. Have you watched this Boardwalk Empire at all?
I've never watched that before. I know what it is. That's the Steve Buscemi, right?
Yeah. I think you would like it for a couple of reasons. It's like, old kind of gangster prohibition type stuff, which, that's fun and interesting. But there's just tits everywhere. So that's right up your alley. Most of the shows you tell me about, you're like, and there's tits everywhere. You would like it. So, but anyways, it's a lot of like old whorehouse. They call it cat houses in the show.
Okay,
but, there's also some burlesque stuff in there.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think I had a vision of it being a certain way, and it's not at all the way that I picture. I had fun. My wife likes stuff like that, so she likes the drag queen stuff, and I've been to the drag queen brunch in Vegas, and I had a lot of fun at that. That is like, it's funny and the food's good and it's unlimited champagne, and you do sort of have to feel good about your manhood, because they'll fuck with you, and so there were some dudes in there that just weren't playing along, and like they were obviously just party poopers. But our friend Mark, this one girl comes out with these like big synthetic boobs. They're not real, and she beat the shit out of him in the face, almost like what happened to Chris on his birthday in Atlanta that one year, but they were real.
All right. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, but and she's always talked about all these burlesque shows and stuff like that, and she's interested in. Anyway, we went. I think my father-in-law was a little leery of it. I think he thought it was going to be more like drag queen shit where they were going to fuck with you and stuff. And no, they don't even talk. Like, it's just music to music, and they come out and they do stuff, and there's but I really did. I had fun. And then gambling went okay. It wasn't amazing, but we had a lot of fun, and we didn't lose the house, which is really high up there and things. I will tell you this. And it's funny because we played the bars for so many freaking years, that we were just in bars and clubs where people smoked. But man, the smoke really just gets me now. I mean, I woke up every afternoon, to be honest, and just coughing up stuff, and just kind of really trouble breathing and stuff, just from that secondhand smoke. Man, it is just it just hits me a lot harder than it used to back in the day.
I remember, I think I'm not going to say that it's because we're getting older. I'm going to say that it's because the bar days are further away, and everywhere in the world, like, you don't smoke there. There's no smoking anymore, right? But the last time we did a casino show, and we all went gambling afterwards, I remember the next day, just I was felt like I had a horse sitting on my chest from all this smoke that was in the casino. So I'd definitely get you on that.
Yeah, just I mean, man, it just not I that part of it sucks. And like especially now because where we live here in North Texas, there's a few places right across the border of Oklahoma that we can go to where you can't smoke anymore. And like I'm like, I like the luster of Vegas, and I like going. I really do fucking love that town, man. I mean, and it, it's funny. I wondered because it's changed a lot. I started going to Las Vegas when I was only 18 years old because, I had a toy store, and that's where the trade shows were. So twice a year I went, and I was old enough to gamble. I just couldn't drink. And then I got old enough to drink, and so I have been going to Vegas for a very long time, 4 years. And it has changed so much. I mean, in that time, I've watched it go from like a place where everybody kind of gets dressed up at night to a place where they're trying to attract families and kids. And now it's kind of that it seems like the kid thing is just all gone.
Yeah.
They don't even give a shit about that anymore. And it's just
maybe that's just because you were at a burlesque show, though.
Yeah, that's probably true. There weren't any kids at that thing. And you know what? You're fucking right. There were definitely kids at Penn and Teller, and they had some of them come up on stage and stuff. So they count on that. So they must still be there. But when there was always Circus. That place has been there since the 70s. But in the 90s, they started building roller coasters and shit everywhere. And I just feel like that's sort of what everything is just sort of going back to being more a little swanky and bars and things like that. It just feels like that. But through all of the changes, I just still really enjoy it. I enjoy walking around and it's just so funny because you walk so much.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it. And then, after 2 days, you've got shin splints, and
I've been to Vegas with you many times, and
yes.
Some of the changes of Vegas happened, but some of it was just different life cycles that we've been in. What are you drinking in Vegas these days? Are you beer all the time? Are you doing we used to do vodka tonics all day when we were there. What's your choice of drinks?
We used to do vodka tonics, and back when I first started drinking, I did this thing called a vodka Collins. I don't even know what the hell that is, but I that's what I drank. But and I drink beer.
Yeah.
And then we went to I'd have a couple of beers, and then I'd have like a glass of wine or two at dinner. And man, I've gotten so good. This is where I think you're going to be the most proud of me. I went to dinner every night, and every night I ate the right amount, drank the right amount, and I was fucking up gambling until 3 o'clock in the morning. So
that's great, because normally you get food and it's bedtime. Yeah, you're out.
Right. But you can't. So that's what I would do, like at a party or when we're hanging out and things like that, right? Just I'm drinking. I'm not going to eat. But you can't do that if you're going out to a dinner, with your family and stuff. Right. And so I did so good. Like everybody else was getting tired, and I was like, man, I'm fucking ready to go, but I was sleeping until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they were all getting up and going to breakfast and shit.
Yeah. Well, I was curious on the drinking part of things, because the past many times we've been to Vegas or any casino together, it's been with the band.
Yeah.
And so our gambling time has either been, before the show or after the show. If it's before the show, we're kind of pacing ourselves, and if it's after the show, we've already got a good head start.
Oh yeah.
So I knew your solid beer then, but I didn't know if on a non-band trip, on a fun trip, if you may take a different route.
Hey, if I go like the vodka route and stuff, it's funny to watch people's alcohol stuff change. Because Derek has always been a beer guy, and then he drank wine for a while. Now all the skinny people that are like trying to work out. That they all just drink tequila now. Like that's just their thing.
Yeah.
So it's like tequila and soda or tequila and water. And, I still can't drink. This is timely because we're about to go to Australia, but I still can't drink tequila just from the last time we were in Australia, which was 2014, when we did the thing where we shut down 2 restaurants that had $5 margaritas.
Yeah. That was a pretty rough hangover.
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink tequila. I drink margaritas, right?
You
But I
like
don't.
them. Yeah.
I don't like tequila. I don't drink tequila, but I'll drink margaritas, right? It's kind of you don't drink beer, you drink Miller Lite, right?
That's right.
But that was a rough hangover. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say two things. First, at those it was kind of like a fast casual type restaurant. It was like a Chipotle type place where you walk up and order, and you get the food at the counter, but you go sit down, right?
Yeah.
They probably weren't serving the best tequila in those
Yeah.
things. And also it was just sugary margarita mix.
You're
So,
really right. And
of course we had 27 of them, so we deserved the hangover, but like the cheap tequila and ton of sugar probably didn't help.
You're right. And it might not even have been real tequila. It might have been like, convenience store, like malt liquors, what they can sell at 7-Eleven or whatever, but
yeah. I mean, it got you drunk for sure.
It did. And I just haven't recovered from that. Maybe one of these days I'll give it another shot, but that is not for me. Well, guys, we're so glad to be back. Coming up here in just a little bit, Tyler from State Champs is going to be here talking about dad stuff. Man, I'm glad to be back doing the show. I'm glad to be home for a little while. What a year it's been. Let's talk more about that when we come back. Y'all listen to this, and we'll be right back with more Rockstar Dad Show. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. Don't forget, we're on every Tuesday on Adobe Radio at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then just a few hours after that, right to your favorite podcast app. Also on YouTube, Facebook. We have a TikTok. We have an Instagram. We got all that shit.
Woo! That's a lot of stuff.
Busy year, Gary. It's good to be home. Like I said earlier, it took me a while. You said the same thing. You're kind of just now getting back to normal. But are you settling into I feel like we're going to get to settle into a groove. We still got like 3 weeks here.
Yeah, it was kind of weird the past 3 U.S. runs that we've done. The first one, in between the first and second, we actually had like a month at home or something, so that wasn't too bad. We were gone for 2.5, 3 weeks and then home for a month. But then we did the second leg, and in between the second and third leg, we were home for 2 weeks or something. So it's like just as I was recovering, then we went back out. So I think that made me take longer to recover this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got like 5 weeks. So I'm starting to get back into a groove and, have a little bit of a normal and schedule and all that. But, our house is always just insane with Anik's doesn't have the same schedule and the kids have baseball and dance and every week is different. So, I don't know if schedule's the right word, but normalcy, we're getting into that.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. It's like, I don't feel like we have yet because I got home. It's sort of like me being home and then us getting ready to go to Vegas and then me and Casey in Vegas. And so really it's just kind of this week, just sort of settling back in and stuff and getting back into the groove of school and just everything that Everett's got going on. He's 12 and, a really sweet thing happened while we were gone. He texted me and he goes, "Hey Dad, would you want to come up here on career day and talk to the school or the class or whatever about being a musician and just your job and all of that stuff?" And I felt so glad that he would just ask me because, you never know at 12 whether or not they're embarrassed about you or not. And I go, "Man, that makes me feel so good. I would love to do it." And I go, what day is it? And he goes, "Career day." And I go, "I'll text your teacher and find out the date." That
is so, that's what's the soup du jour?
Yeah. Literal Everett, man.
Yeah.
It's, "Would you want to come do career day?" "Sure. What day is it?" "Career day." "Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm in." So yeah, I'll get on and see about doing that, but that should be fun. It's so funny to see, you've been through this with Tyler. It's been a minute for me, but that change from picking them up or dropping them off at at middle school versus elementary school. You know, it just, the kids are just so different, you know, in their attitude and their, you know, just sort of like how they look at each other. And, you know, it just, it's just funny. The teenagers are just funny.
Yeah. The transition, you know, it happens sometimes at the upper elementary school age, but for sure by the time they're in middle school, it's weird how it goes from you know, in elementary it's like they just want you to come have lunch with them to at some point it's like the worst thing in the world would be if you showed up to lunch with them.
Man, 100%. Actually, it's Casey is doing some stuff at the elementary school. And she was like, I think I want to do some stuff at your school. And at first he was like, yeah, I don't want any part of that. Don't come up here. But he since recanted. He was like, no, I think it'd be cool if you were up here. So, you know, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, you just sort of never know. I mean, I'm fairly lucky that I don't think I ever felt that way. And if they were that way, they definitely never, they hit it very well, the two older kids. But Everett's been pretty cool about, you know, not being super embarrassed of me. And I don't think he is very much of Casey either. So so far, so good.
I think there's like a multifaceted part of it, though, at least with Tyler, there is, you know, I don't think it's total embarrassment. You know, like, I don't think he's embarrassed if I were to show up. Maybe his mom. I don't know. I'm kidding, Nick. She's listening. But I don't think it's like complete embarrassment as much as like just trying to fit in and no one else's parents are there or whatever. So, I mean, I guess that falls into embarrassment a little bit, but I think it's also, they're trying to develop a sense of individuality or, you know, self-reliance, right? Like they don't need you there type. I think there's a couple of those things going on.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And, you know, that, but also there's the whole thing of like, you know, how their friends would react to their own parents. You know, it's just a really weird dynamic on how that. I remember Emma, you know, would try and sort of like create, she admits this now, but she would almost try and create angst, you know, and issues because, you know, we're pretty happy divided house, you know, pretty happy over here and they were pretty happy over there at Melissa's. And, you know, but, you know, she would just try and have some angst in her life sometimes because so many of her friends did, you know, or whatever. And so, you know, that was an interesting thing to navigate because it's just like, okay, you know, obviously you're going to let them deal with that. You're going to let them get through those feelings on their own. Or, you know, be there as a support system, offer up whatever you can do to support, but allow them to navigate that. But, you know, I remember, you know, it's funny how I say in Star Song, right? Like, you know, how the girl in the second verse, she doesn't want everybody to know how smart she is, you know?
Yeah.
You got an A in class and you hope no one will notice you're the smartest kid in school and it makes you self-conscious, you know, like you're just like, you know, that's a funny thing. You know, and I could remember sort of a little bit of that because my friends didn't make great grades. Once I got into like junior high, once I got into high school, all of my friends did pretty well. But, you know, I really did sort of like hang out with like the loser long haired dudes, in junior high, and none of them did real well in school. And I was a little weird about, you know, how good I would do on tests and stuff.
It's a weird age where like part of fitting in is just trying to hide what you're good at, even, you know?
Yeah. I mean, isn't that, you know, it's funny. It's as simple as it is. It almost goes to the thing where like they wear their hoodies in the summer, but they won't wear a coat in the winter because it's not cool to be cold, I guess. So like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, they don't. Kids will just fucking stand out there in a shirt. And I remember being the same way. Like you know, I mean, honestly, we're like that as adults, right? Like we go to tour Canada in shorts in the winter, but obviously that's a different thing. But yeah, it's good to be back home, working back into the groove. And it was good to get away with my in-laws for a little while. I'm excited for some upcoming guests that we have. It's going to be, I don't want to mention any because I don't really know the timing, but some of the ones that we've been teasing for a while, we're home. We have, honestly, we haven't been home since July long enough to get anybody scheduled. And so in the coming weeks, I hope that you guys will be super stoked. Next week, we're doing a cross promo with another podcast. So a different episode than we've ever done, where we're doing their podcast and they're doing our podcast at the same time. Coming up after this break, Tyler Solkowski. Tyler,
close enough.
Yeah, he agrees with that, by the way. From the band State Champs' new album, self-titled State Champs, out now. They are on tour in the United States currently until December. So get out there and go see them. UK peeps, they're coming for you. And we will be right back with Tyler right after this. Y'all listen up. Welcome back to the Rockstar Dad Show. And as I said earlier, very, very excited to welcome to the program Tyler Sokolski. Did I get that close? Sokolski?
Yeah. So I was raised Zalkowski, but when we started touring in Europe, everyone like near or in Poland was like, "You're saying it wrong." It's apparently Szolkowski, which feels a little like like KGB freaking.
It really
I don't know.
does. Yeah.
It's like kind of badass, but I feel like I'm too late in the game just to like correct everybody now.
Sure.
Yeah. So Zalkowski works. Sorry to all my Polacks out there.
There's got to be a hockey player with that last name, and I wonder how they say it.
Dude, honestly, you're probably right.
Yeah. So from the band State Champs, and you guys are on tour right now. And gosh, man, first of all, congratulations on the new album.
Thank you.
Self-titled record. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. Feels crazy. 5th record for us.
Wow. And I mean, I got to tell you, I listened to it yesterday, full listen to the whole thing. And first of all, sonically, it's insanely great. The songs are so good. And I just, I don't know, man. It feels like you guys are sort of still flying the pop punk flag as high as it will go. And I feel like you guys are sort of like the guys that are taking the baton and running with it.
Yeah, that is the goal, I think the record sounds great too. To touch on that, we got to work with our friend Anton DeLost, and he is just like, I don't know, you've made a lot of records by now, and everybody does it differently. And some people are like all DI guys, some people will fix it in post, whatever. He's a guy that like really wants you to nail the take, really wants to find the tone, really wants to make sure that like we have the best source material possible instead of polishing a turd later. Let's just make sure it's not a turd now. But he's dope. He's the man. As far as taking the flag, dude, like, I don't know. It feels strange to talk to you guys about this because you've been doing it for so much longer, but I'm sure there was a point where you're like, oh, fuck, this is what I do now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you can't run from it.
Oh yeah.
We're not going to go like change the sound up. Fuck all that, dude. Let's just do what we do as best as we can do it and hopefully take that flag all the way to the top of the mountain.
Hell yeah. But some people do. That's just it. Like, we're a band that figured out our niche really early and figured out who we were. You guys seem to be that same sort of thing there, but there are bands that have, and successfully, and I love it. Again, I just said this the other day in an interview, talking about Sum 41, and I'm just like, had they not done the metal stuff, I'd be bummed out, I'm really glad that they did that, but again, that's just not who we are. We're not right. We just sort of, it seems like you guys have figured out who State Champs are and you're staying true to that. And I think it comes across.
I'm glad. That was the whole emphasis behind the self-titled record. A lot of bands do it a little earlier on, but for us, we just felt like every idea we tried felt like it was cheapening the product. So we wanted to just try to self-title it. We sat with it for a couple weeks. Like, should we self-title this? Is that a cop-out? Like, are we being lazy?
Right.
But we actually came out on the other side and think it's just because like it really is, when you look at the history of our band, we want this to be like the defining record.
I think you did it. I really do.
Thank you so much, man.
For me, having followed you guys since I heard you for the first time. Warped Tour 2017, I think, is the first time I saw you guys.
I think it was earlier than that.
Yeah, maybe. But
we did 14 and 16 and 18.
Okay, then I saw you 14 then. Yeah.
I love the idea of, hey, it's not the first or second record that's self-titled. It's like, hey, here's where we are now, and I love it. I like that idea.
I will say it's interesting that we don't know one another better, because our bands, we all have it's, and this happens all the time, but it's like you guys are friends with all of our friends and we're friends with all of your friends. And we just really haven't really run across one another very much.
We haven't. I feel like we've done Warped Tours together. We've done, I'm sure, some like European like slam dunk styled festival or what have you. But yeah, you're right. We haven't had like a proper tour.
We need to fix that.
Let's go.
Sure, man. Yeah, let's do it. Now, okay, so you guys are out on the road, which, by the way, I'm interested in. Did you guys release singles from this record leading up to the album?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and when did that start?
June or July. I honestly don't really remember.
Okay, so that makes all the sense, because the record came out and you guys literally started touring, I think, like the day it came out. you were
yeah. I mean, yeah, that is the thing that happened. It wasn't our first choice, but
okay.
We were we ran into the classic, like, yeah, the record's done, but like the art's not done.
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, well, you guys better figure the fucking art out, because if you don't figure that out, we can't get it into production and all that good stuff. And people don't want us to tour without physical product in hand, whereas we're like, fuck it, we want to tour, just drop the record on DSPs, like whatever. But we came to an agreement, and we started tour on the day the record dropped, which is proving to be just fine. Like, again, not my first choice, but not the end of the world.
No, definitely not. I mean, you guys are 5 albums in, so so how much of this record are you even this 1 week into the tour or so? How many new songs are you playing anyway?
6, I think, maybe 7. I think originally it was 7. Maybe we cut one for 6. I don't. At least like half the record.
Okay, dude, that's a lot. So, but
they'll know songs are already out.
Okay, there you go. So everybody is going to know the other 2 starting after your day off today. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like they've
absolutely.
all been listening to it the whole time. But well, let's get into fatherhood. You're on the road. Tell us just about I introduce us to your family.
Yeah, I have a wonderful partner, Tegan. I have a 7, almost 8-year-old stepson named Easton, and a 3-year-old son named Clark.
Nice.
So
2 boys.
Yeah, double boy dad. And I think, like, they say, like, you get the kid that you need to have or whatever. And I'm not much of like a manly man.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't do Boy Scouts even. Like, I never went to summer camp. I was like a fucking art kid, obviously. Yeah. So having boys is like making me more like having to engage in those things, like needing. I wasn't very athletic, and my oldest Easton just loves sports. Yeah. So like I'm not like I like sports. I like to watch football, hockey, but like he's really into soccer right now. So we're out in the backyard, and he's teaching me things, just things like that, But yeah, it's like making me engage in all of these things that like I wish at one point I did, but like I didn't. So yeah, double boy dad, man, it's crazy. They're fucking nuts.
It'll be interesting to see, and how does it look like Clark is gonna be that in that direction? Is he leaning more towards the artsy thing, or does he loving the big brother sportsy thing? I mean, or can you really get a handle on it yet?
Yeah, I don't really know. He is straight up pure chaos right now, but he does enjoy like art and coloring and stuff. But then again, like what kid doesn't?
Right.
I will say both of my kids, also my partner Tegan, she is very musical as well. She had like a full ride for trumpet performance to CSU in Colorado. Yeah. So like between the two of us, if we don't have artistic kids, I'll be very surprised.
Sure.
And then the only other like little tidbit that they have in their favor is that they're both left-handed, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So like with that, allegedly that's more of a creative person.
Yeah. From a soccer standpoint, though, that's a good thing. Because your Easton can be that left wing and they're hard to find.
Mhm.
That kid
Yeah.
learns to score with both feet.
Mhm.
He may be doing that all through school. You never know.
Same thing with NFL quarterbacks, man. I'm pretty sure Tua is the only one that's a left-handed QB, and they're like harder to read because everyone's used to reading right-handed QBs. So
Same with
Absolute.
baseball too.
Baseball's the same way. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah, man. Well, so, now that you guys do tour quite a bit, and, do you guys, I don't really know this about you guys. Well, I know the 2 tours that you've been on the past couple of years because you've been out with buddies of ours, but,
Mhm.
do you guys, you burn it at both ends? Do you go out for 6-8 months on a record, or do you try to get that time at
No.
home? No.
We used to, and I think the pandemic was pretty eye-opening, as far as like being home. Like we
Yeah.
all really enjoyed it, actually, especially me, because I got to like spend a solid year and a half like with my family. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But we also, like, just as a band, feel like during the come up and leading up to everything pre-pandemic, we over toured. We were like a 3 full US tours a year band, and like you're really only hurting yourself because you're increasing your, like the access to the band, right? So like from like a business standpoint, we already wanted to roll back. So like the last tour I did before this one, I think ended in February, and we supported Simple Plan in Europe. So like
Yeah.
I've been home since, let's say, March 1st, and I left for this like a week ago. So
Wow,
it's been
that's
it's been
nice.
great. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great, especially because, like, I mean, you guys get it. Like, time's the one thing you don't get back. And when your kids are so little and they're changing like every day or every week, it does suck pretty bad to miss it. So I want to be there for as much as I can.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about you guys being, dads now, and being younger is technology is awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
it's both Gary and Rob in our band have young kids, and I mean, I walked into the front of the bus, and Gary here the other day was she was just taking him on. She was basically cleaning her room or rearranging her room with him on the phone.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
so he's spending time with his daughter, from the bus. And
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that that at least that's an advantage that you have these days.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, like, I can't imagine doing it pre-FaceTime even, or like pre-Skype. I mean, even last night, like my youngest wouldn't go to sleep because I had VIP at his bedtime. So I couldn't say goodnight, and he wouldn't go to sleep until I called him.
Yeah.
And I sat there with him for like 10 minutes, and he refused to hang up, and he wanted to fall asleep with me on FaceTime. And it's things like that I'm absolutely willing to do. Like, I will do as much as I can for them to close the distance when I'm far away.
And you're just gutted by it. Yeah, VIP.
Oh yeah, it sucked.
VIP happens a lot during Rob's son's bath time, and and he's a toddler, and so they do like to FaceTime during that time, and it's a good opportunity for him to catch up with his wife and all of that, and we see him trying to navigate that, and you want to be supportive as much as you can, and you're just like, what, hey, so we're gonna be 15 minutes late today. That's just
it's hard to, I've got older kids, so they're in dance and baseball and band, and there's just stuff going on. So it sucks when we're on tour a lot of the times, because between their schedule and our schedule, I just don't get to FaceTime with them much. My son's older. He and I can text back and forth all the time, but there's times where it goes 2 or 3 days where I don't ever actually get to FaceTime with the kids. But that's why whenever I am talking with Mia, she's my daughter that just is a mile a minute. And there's times where, okay, we're just going to FaceTime now for an hour and a half, and she's going to tell me everything in the world.
That's awesome. Yeah. But that is like the harder part about them getting older, is that they have stuff, like I had to miss Easton's like last soccer game because I had to go film a video for the most recent video we put out. And it's like, fuck, man, like I want to see the soccer. And he scored a goal that day. It was his first goal. And I'm like, fuck, like, of course we had to film the video, just shit like that like you can be on FaceTime, but you're still like not there. And I don't ever want them to like feel the absence when it comes to stuff like that. So I got a couple of years to figure that part out, I guess. But
yeah, it's tough. That's the hardest thing, and then how did your wife, your partner, Tegan, is that what you said?
Yeah,
Tegan, and how does she? How long have you guys been together? Does she just kind of know the drill and knows how to navigate all this?
Yeah, we've been together for 7 years. I mean, yeah, she does a great job. She understands everything, and like I think that, you know, there is a conversation to be had about the workload put onto our partners while we're gone, and how, you know, you can really only do so much. But she absolutely gets it. And, you know, the landscape's always changing. Like last night, you know, was the first time, I think I've been gone for a week and a half now, that he is like refusing to go to bed. And she was just like, you know, reassuring him. And then I get done with VIP and she's like, hey, like, can you call us? And I was like, oh yeah, for sure. You know, whatever. So we try to be creative with our parenting. We try to be reassuring, especially with my absence and things like that. Yeah, but she absolutely gets it and is supportive of everything. It just like her landscape's always changing, you know?
Yeah.
The
I
kids
mean,
are
it
always
is.
changing.
It really is. And like, as you know, like you can be gone a week and you come home and your kid's a different human and they're experiencing that in real time, you know, and it's, it can be very challenging. Do the other guys have kids or no?
No, it's just me.
Yeah. So you're setting, and how are they? Are they super supportive and there at your back? Good uncles?
Yeah, 100%, especially now that Easton's older, that I've been bringing him around since he was like 2, so they've seen him grow up too, but now that he likes shit like Fortnite and fucking, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he likes to like say the swear words in our songs.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's a real superstar to them, and you know, they're so tickled and like entertained by hanging out with them, which is fun. Also, I'm pretty sure 2 out of my 3 guys like want kids too, and like being uncles and stuff. So
yeah,
that as well, you know, they're just assuming the role that, you know, they are hoping to have later in their life.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's important too, you know, just having that support, because, you know, you're going to have those times where you're just like, guys, I need a minute to go. I got to put out a fire at home, you know? And
I mean, there was even a situation this year, like we got an offer for a festival over in Jakarta on December 21st. And I was like, guys, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not going to be like one missed flight, one weather delay away from missing Christmas. There's no amount of money you could offer me.
Yeah.
To put that at risk, to put already coming home from this tour December 8th too. Right. So it's like, hey, Tegan, sorry, I'm home for a week and a half. Like, please finish Christmas shopping and wrapping and decorating and creating magic for these kids in the most important time of the year for them.
Right.
I got to go to Jakarta, and it's a 40-hour flight each way for one show. Like,
and there's no telling what the weather's going to do. And
I mean, dude, you got to go through like, I think like South Korea too. So you're pretty much traversing the whole globe. Yeah. So like in that situation, it would be helpful if they had kids, because they do their best to empathize and understand. But I think sometimes they see the opportunity in playing that show and think like, oh man, I really wish we could do that. While I understand Tyler doesn't want to and feels like unsafe in doing so, I still really want to do it.
Yeah.
And like, luckily everyone was pretty cool with that, which is nice. But there has been like points of contention in the past where like I'll be advocating for, you know, something that's important to me regarding my family or time at home, and it conflicting with someone else's idea or plan for the band. So while they are supportive, sometimes we do like not butt heads. It's just like, without the perspective of having the kids and being gone, I feel like you can only understand so much.
100%.
You can only understand so much. That being said, with a couple of the guys that you said maybe looking towards the opportunity or the possibility of having kids, there's the realistic idea that in the future they're going to be like, oh, I get that now. You know, it becomes harder with multiple people that have kids of planning when are we going to be gone and all that, but they'll look back and be like, totally get now why we couldn't do that trip.
Yeah. I think, that's just, I mean, Gary has said in the past, like, I used to fly home every day off. And again, I had my first child in 2003. So I'm a pre-FaceTime dad, you know, and I used to fly home every day off. And, you know, the guys would be like, you know, they're out, you know, doing the thing there. They didn't have kids. They're partying and enjoying themselves. And they're like, you're crazy. Like, you're going to see your kids 6 hours, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's worth it.
I don't care. Yeah.
Now that Gary's a father of 2, Rob's got a toddler. They're just like, oh yeah, makes all the sense, you know. And you also, again, back to your partner, back to your spouse or whatever, you just getting that FaceTime, if is so important if you can get it as often as you can get it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. I mean, like, we have a little routine where, like, I'll talk to bath time's great. Clark's still insane. So, like, they're in one spot,
Yeah.
like, so bath time's great. And I do get to catch up with Tegan then. And then we also have a little ritual where, like, I talk to her while she, like, does the dishes and, like, does the closing shift of the house, so to speak. So it's like the only time during the day, because she also works like a 9-to-5 job. She works from home, but still it's like, she's busy all day and then she's taking care of kids all night.
Right.
And the only time we really get to talk is when she's cleaning, which honestly sucks, but like, at least we are not getting interrupted by the kids or whatever. So it is something also to pay attention to, like the health of your relationship, being mindful that like that other person is doing a lot and showing appreciation. I think just showing that you actually give a shit, because they're also sacrificing. It's very easy for me to get caught up in like, well, I miss my kids and my kid was crying last night on the phone because I wasn't home.
Right.
But I don't want to make it about me. I want to just like show appreciation for her for helping him through that situation, and being I guess like the parent that's there.
Yeah. That's the hard part, right? They're the ones dealing with the crying kid.
They are.
And
they're dealing with a lot.
Yeah. That's such a healthy attitude. I mean, and
it wasn't always that way, man. Like I'm very quick to be like I feel bad, so I want to like talk about it. Like I feel upset with myself that I'm gone, whatever. But right. I've been trying to put the work in to like not do that. So last night, like as much as I wanted to cry too, I just reassured my son, and she did the same thing. And then when we talked about it later, we were just like, yeah, that sucked. She could go any direction. She could be like, yeah, like what the fuck, you got to come home, whatever. Right. But she doesn't say that shit either. So it's like, I'm just happy with where things are as far as that's concerned.
That's super healthy. Have you been to therapy?
Yep. Got a session tomorrow. So
yeah, because you're talking therapy style. I see 2 therapists and I have a psychiatrist too. So like, just in that and all of that, and my problem is that I'm a fixer. And so,
me too,
okay. So, not only would I be woe is me in those situations at times of like, oh, I'm missing this, but then I'm just like, but oh shit, like you now I want to try and fix this. I want it to be better for you or whatever. And it's just like, man, you just got to learn to listen,
Yeah. A lot of the times they don't really need a solution. They just need someone to listen to them. And
it needs to be you. Like they don't want it because they start to talk to their mom or their sister or this or whatever. It's like that feedback isn't really what they want either, because they don't really understand what our lives are like, because they don't live this life. They hear the stories. They're just like, and how many times do you hear, I don't know how you guys do it, and you hear that all the time. Right. And it's just like, I mean, we do it because this is what we do. And that's super healthy, man. When you go home, we talk a lot to especially our young dads about reentry, and is what we call it. When you get home and I'm not sure about how you guys are on the road. I mean, we still act like we're 17 years old. And so, we're not near as bad as we were 4 or 5 years ago, but we still stay up late. We still have some drinks. We're having fun. And again, that's that. So then you get home and, a lot of times your partner is just there to hand you the kid to be like, here you go, but then we've talked to people that are like, I think it's Travis from We the Kings that like because I think they have 4 or 5 girls. And he goes home and he goes to a hotel for a night and just like, and then he comes home. So that way he is just on, and so, but I think all of us navigate it differently. And that's actually, speaking of therapy, re-entry is something that my wife and I continually have to work on and evolve on as our kids get older and as our lives change. I wonder what that's like for you.
Yeah, re-entry. I mean, even before I had kids, I feel like it was weird, right? Like coming home from a tour and like the absolute like peaks and valleys of that. And yeah, I mean, like we still all hang out with each other. We still like drink or whatever. Uh, and then like, before I had kids coming home and it's just like the quietest it's ever been is that's always been difficult.
Mhm.
Uh, I think the only thing I struggle with really is like patience because like patience is kind of like a callus to me. Like it's how I envision it. It's like when I'm in the shit with the kids for months on end, it's like I got it down. But when I first come back, I'm like a little more short tempered, I
Yeah.
think. So what it really looks like for me though is like, I mean, respect to my man Travis, but like I don't have the luxury of going to a hotel.
No, of course
Pretty
not.
sure I would be kicked out of my house if I went home and stayed at
Yeah.
a hotel for a night.
Right.
If anything, it should be the opposite. She should be going to the hotel.
Right.
Um, yeah, I just come home and like, I mean, typically the kids will pick me up at the airport, and we just kind of go back to normal.
Yeah.
I try to assume responsibility out of the gate. It might be a little bit of that fixer mentality, but it's like, I
Yeah.
know you've been doing this alone. So like, I will get up with the kids and I'll make Easton's lunch and I'll get everyone ready for school or daycare, wherever they're going, and just essentially try to alleviate some of the lift that she's been, lifting.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's hard because you're also exhausted. Your liver
You are.
hurts.
Yeah.
You know,
Everything sucks and like
and
you're in pain and
yeah, it just
yeah.
and like not to mention, and you'll realize this. I mean, you guys are a little younger than us, so you that soreness that you experience, it just gets worse and worse and worse. You get home and your back hurts and your knee hurts and your arms hurt,
Yeah.
your hands hurt. You can't make a fist. It's just like it's just all bad. But
Right.
yeah, you got to get back in there and dive back into the trenches and
Yeah.
so you guys tour in the US right
Mhm.
now and State Champs, we're talking to Tyler from State Champs, and the new album, the self-titled album, is out and it's awesome and you should all go listen to it. They are on tour in the United States right now. And then what's the plan for 2025 for you guys?
2025 off the top, I think starting in early February, we're doing our first ever cruise. We're doing the Emo's Not Dead cruise.
Hell yeah, that's a good one. You
You're
guys
gonna
are
love it.
Yeah.
you're gonna have
Cool.
so much fun.
I'm so glad to hear you both say this because some of my other friends have not been so kind to the idea of any cruise. If it's Shipwrecked, some of my friends have done that one, Emo's Not Dead, whatever. And not everyone, but some people are like, kind of sucks.
Oh,
So
man. We did the Warp Rewind, which was great. And
yeah.
then we've done Rockboat twice.
Mhm.
And it's honestly, man, I think a lot of it is what you make of it. I think,
I agree.
yeah. If you guys go on there ready to just have some fun, realize that everybody's there, honestly, make yourself accessible to the fans. And like, we just have this one bar that we pony up at all the time. People come by and they talk to you, whatever. When you've had enough of it, you go do something else, and it's just,
Yeah.
we
I
always
think
have a blast.
I think the people that are miserable and hate it are doing the thing where they're just trying to hide away from everyone and like staying in their room or staying in that tiny little artist area. But like,
Yeah.
just go have fun and enjoy it. It'll be a
Just
blast.
like embrace it. Just
Yep.
understand where you are.
Embrace it, and you can go and there's backstages at all the shows and you can go do that. And, but we haven't done Emo's Not Dead, but I mean, we know a lot of the bands that obviously that have, and some of the guys that work for that organization are friends. And
I would imagine a lot of the boats are the same too. There can't be that many like
yeah, totally. Yeah. I think
ship.
it's the same ship almost all the time.
Right. Like
Yeah.
outfitted with stages and PAs and shit.
Sure. Yeah. Man, I mean, dude, the Warp Tour cruise and Rockboat, a lot of the guys do this too, but man, Mayday Parade, like they brought their kids, like, and they doing the thing, and you just see Derek walking around just in a bathing suit with his kids, and everybody just left him alone. It was I thought that was wild because my wife was with us and we were there to freaking hang. But you guys are gonna have fun. So you guys and then anything overseas?
Yeah, we're doing our first cruise, and then that goes right into a EU UK headline tour in
Awesome.
support of the record. Yeah, so that'll be awesome too. And then we just locked in Australia sometime. I don't know when this is going to air,
Yeah, well, it's
But-
going to be out. Actually, we're going to air this now to get it out of the record.
Okay,
So.
cool.
Anyway, some
So-
stuff in Australia coming up.
Got some stuff in Australia coming up. That I mean, it gets announced in like I don't know, like a week or something. I don't really give a shit.
It's
But-
good timing. Good timing. We're
Yeah.
heading over to Australia in December, and then obviously we got a lot of listeners in the UK, and
Mhm.
so everybody go out, support State Champs. Tyler, you're a rockstar
Please.
dad, man. Thank you for taking the time today.
Dude, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, we really enjoyed talking to you, and I really do mean it, man. I hope that we get some hangs in soon, and
Dude, I would love that.
our bands get to play together, because it's, you know, there's no reason Simple Plan should hog everybody, you know.
I just think they're so active, you know,
They-
like
Yeah,
they're
they
so
go.
fucking busy all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. And again, I'm certain that they're reaping the benefits and they have nice houses and shit, but God damn, they're gone a lot.
Yeah, they absolutely put the work into, like, they're one of the more busy bands I've ever seen on a tour. They have hour blocks where they're doing TikTok content. They have like 3 VIPs. Like
Yeah.
they really go for it. And I asked Pierre about it. I was like, yo, like, why do you guys go so hard? And he did make the point. He was like, if we're going to be gone, it has to be like 1,000% worth it. Like we want to reap those benefits if we're going to go. And I was like, shit, I kind of respect that. But
yeah, totally.
That
But
3 VIP thing is wild, but it's
pre-show, preset, post-show.
Yeah, it's just crazy. But man, I mean, more power to them. Again, we've known those guys for 20 plus years, and and just amazing sweethearts of dudes, and they've all been on the show too. So, man, thank you guys for listening to the Rockstar Dad Show, and we will see you guys next time. Y'all be good. Go listen to the new State Champs album.
This is a song for my friends Jaret and Gary. They started a podcast and said a theme was necessary. They're just